afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. John Belkowitz. I'm the Director of Research and Development at Intelligent Concrete, where we specialize in concrete research development, education, and litigation work. The purpose of today's presentation is to give you a quick peek into what we like to call the magical world of concrete. Specifically, we're going to be covering what the difference is between cement and concrete. And this is one of the most common questions that we get when we work with people who've rarely thought about concrete more than just walking over to driving over bridges and what have you. So this is going to be basic to a little bit of the advanced. We're going to go into a little bit of the history, but the biggest thing is, at the end of this 5 to 7 minute video, you should know the difference between cement and concrete. So the cement that we work with today was patented in 1824 by a gentleman named Joseph Aspdin, and it was optimized by his son in the 1840s. And this is what the stuff looks like. It's a gray powder, extremely fine, similar to flour that you would use for bread. It's gray in consistency. It can be bleached white, or the paramagnetic alloys can be stripped out to give us a white Portland cement. And there are five types of Portland cement that we use. Type 1 is a general use. Type 2, sulfate resistance. Type 3 is a high early strength. Type 4 is a low heat of hydration. And then Type 5 is a high sulfate resistance. And what we rely on for cement, which, by the way, the name Portland cement doesn't have to do anything with Portland, Oregon. It actually has to do with the Portland stone that Portland cement looks like in Portland, in Dorset, England. But the reason why we love using it is because of the hydraulic reactions that come from using cement plus water. And it's rare that we have a material that, when just combined with water, it can convert to something that is similar to stone, and we can easily manufacture it. And it's not that expensive to manufacture either. You know, there is one big problem with cement production. Unfortunately, cement production accounts for, I believe it's somewhere around 5% of the world's CO2 emissions. And unfortunately, when we make cement, taking calcium carbonate to calcium oxide, we have to liberate a CO2, which of course makes up our greenhouse gases. So we don't love that aspect of it, but what it could do for civilizations is awesome. And what we're trying to do nowadays, and what we've been trying to do for years, is use supplementary cementitious materials to offset the amount of cement that we have to use in concrete. But one thing that we cannot get past are the hydraulic reactions that we get from cement. So just to go over those hydraulic reactions really quickly, I'm just going to skim over the surface. So for those experts out there, please be a little bit forgiving. I am going to be dropping some things out of the whole cement hydration story. So when we take our cement and drop it into our proverbial bucket of water, what we have is this immediate reaction between the water and the cement composition, primarily the tri- and dicalcium silicates. And it's that tricalcium silicate which is going to dissolve first. And the first thing that precipitates out of this water and tricalcium silicate or calcium silica solution is going to be calcium hydroxide, which neither bonds to itself and in the presence of water will dissolve back into solution. There are some who could argue that calcium hydroxide is considered one of the forms of the cancer of concrete. After we get this precipitation of calcium hydroxide, we get this supersaturated gel of calcium and silica. And when our calcium and silica ratio gets somewhere between, I believe it's a 0.7 to a 3.2, depends whose technical journal that you read or technical article that you read, but we start gelling or hardening into this amorphous-like crystal where we have sheets of calcium oxide that sandwich these bridging and pairing silicone tetrahedron. Now, it's almost like a ham sandwich where the calcium oxide layers act as our bread, and our silicone tetrahedrons act as our ham. And what we want to do is we want to pack as much of those silicone tetrahedron or as much of that ham in that ham sandwich as we possibly can. So that's what cement is, and the key thing to walk away with, the most important fact, is that cement is a powder that we use to mix with water to make that hydrated cement matrix of concrete. And that's the biggest differentiator right there, that cement is a product used to make concrete. And concrete in and of itself is a composite material, where a composite material is defined as a material made up of one or more things, where at least one of the things is a softer matrix, and the second thing is a stiff and elongated fiber that's embedded in our matrix. And extending that to concrete, our hydrated matrix, or our softer matrix, is going to be our hydrated cement matrix. Water plus cement, we can also use supplementary materials. And our stiff and elongated matrix, or fiber, is going to be either our coarse aggregate or our fine aggregate, our rock or our sand. But ultimately, that's what we get from, or that's what concrete is. It is a composite material where cement is an ingredient used to make concrete. So if I can come up with a quick analogy, flour is to bread as cement is to concrete. So again, if somebody says there's a cement mixer, it's more of a concrete mixer that's driving down the road. And if somebody says there's cement sidewalk, that's incorrect. Cement would be one of the ingredients used to make that concrete composite, which is a concrete mixer driving down the road, a concrete sidewalk, or your concrete driveway. Again, the last piece of that is flour is to bread as cement is to concrete. Again, if you have any questions, any concrete concerns, don't forget to shoot us a message. We are the concrete experts. Like, subscribe, go concrete, beat asphalt. Y'all have a great weekend.